Dear Chosen One, there is a reason why your spirit has been so restless lately, and it is not random. Heaven has marked this Tuesday as a day of divine exposure, a moment where the plans of the evil emperor will crumble before your very eyes. What has been hidden for months, even years, is now being dragged into the light. This is not just a spiritual event. It is a turning point in your destiny. The forces that tried to chain you, to keep you small and silent, are about to face a judgment they cannot escape. This is the week where your obedience, your resilience, and your refusal to bow will bear fruit in ways you could never imagine. For a long time, the enemy has moved in the shadows, weaving lies, manipulating situations, and using people as pawns in his chessboard against you. But what he did not know was that every move he made was being recorded in the courts of heaven. Every scheme, every whispered word of sabotage, every trap laid at your feet, all of it has been seen, weighed, and is now about to be answered. Have you felt it? That tension in the air? The sudden opposition? The strange patterns in your days? This is not paranoia, Chosen One. It is the tremor before the collapse. What I am about to share with you today will connect the dots in your spirit. It will show you why the attacks have intensified, why certain doors were shut, and why heaven has been unusually silent at times. By the time we reach the end of this message, you will understand why God allowed certain battles, why the exposure had to come now, and why you are stepping into one of the most defining weeks of your calling. Stay with me until the end, because the revelation you are about to receive will not only prepare you, it will position you for the victory that is already written in heaven's decree. There is a throne in the unseen realm that has ruled over certain territories of your life for far too long. It is not made of gold or stone, but of lies, fear, and manipulation. This is the throne of the evil emperor, the spiritual figure who has tried to dictate the pace and direction of your destiny. You may have felt it as an invisible pressure, a ceiling you could not break, a resistance that appeared every time you took a step forward. This is not an ordinary enemy. It is a high-ranking spirit of control and oppression, one that uses human agents, situations, and even your own past wounds to keep you from rising. And this week, its reign is coming to an end. For months, the emperor has been tightening his grip, sensing that something in your life was about to shift. He has been whispering lies to those around you, turning allies into skeptics, planting doubt in conversations you were not even present for. He has been weaving a narrative meant to isolate you, to make you second-guess your own purpose, to drain your strength until you quietly stepped back from your calling. But what he didn't see was the counter-strategy being released from heaven. While he was plotting in the dark, God was building a stage for his downfall in the light. The signs have been there if you look closely. Sudden tension in relationships that once felt safe, strange resistance in projects that used to flow easily, a heavy atmosphere in certain places you used to visit. And yet, even in the midst of that, moments of inexplicable peace breaking through at random, like a whisper from God saying, "Hold on, I'm about to move." Chosen One, those moments were not just comfort. They were warnings that a divine shift was already underway. Heaven has been circling the enemy's camp, preparing to tear down the walls. Tuesday is not just a day on the calendar. It is a prophetic marker. In the heavenly timetable, it represents the close of one spiritual contract and the opening of another. That means that certain agreements, whether spoken, unspoken, or enforced by spiritual bondage, will be nullified in an instant. The grip of the emperor will slip, and his power will dissolve like smoke in the wind. But when this happens, it will not be subtle. You will see signs in the natural that confirm what has taken place in the spirit. The emperor's greatest fear is exposure, because his power depends on deception. The moment the curtain is pulled back, and his schemes are seen for what they are, his influence collapses. That is why you may have felt the heat rising lately. Sudden bursts of opposition, misunderstandings, financial strain, or emotional heaviness. These are not random attacks. They are the flailing strikes of a ruler who knows his time is short. And Tuesday is the day when his crown falls. You might be wondering, why now? Why not months ago? The answer is that heaven waits for the perfect alignment. If the exposure had come too soon, the stage would not be ready, and the impact would have been smaller. But now, everything is in place. The right people are watching. The right doors are ready to open. And when the emperor falls, those who doubted you will have no choice but to see the hand of God on your life. This is not just about removing an enemy. It is about elevating your position. So brace yourself, chosen one. When the collapse begins, there will be noise, chaos, and confusion in the enemy's camp. But you must stand firm, rooted in the knowledge that you are not alone in this battle. Angels have been dispatched to guard your steps. The hand of God is on your shoulder, guiding you through the shaking. This is not the moment to panic. It is the moment to prepare to step into the space that the emperor once occupied. His fall is your rise. The collapse of the emperor's power will not come quietly, chosen one. In the unseen realm, there is already a tremor, the kind that shakes foundations, topples false thrones, and causes the guards of darkness to panic. Imagine a fortress built on lies, where every brick is a manipulated truth, every gate guarded by fear, every corridor echoing with the whispers of betrayal. That fortress is crumbling, and the dust is already rising. You may not see the full ruins yet, but you are walking in the early morning hours before the city falls. The air is thick with tension, because the enemy senses that the gavel of heaven is about to strike. What has stood unchallenged for years is about to be judged. And when it happens, the noise will be heard in both realms. Those who once boasted about their control over you will be left speechless, staring at the rubble of their own arrogance. But do not think for a second that the emperor will surrender willingly. His pride will drive him to make one last desperate move before Tuesday's decree is fulfilled. He will try to provoke you, bait you into unnecessary battles, distract you with sudden crises, or even tempt you with false opportunities that seem harmless on the surface, but are poisoned at the root. This is the oldest tactic in the enemy's playbook, to lure the chosen one into the wrong battlefield so that the true victory is delayed. You must not step into that trap. Every moment of irritation, every sudden argument, every door that opens too easily in these next hours could be a decoy. The emperor is hoping you will waste your strength swinging at shadows while he tries to escape the light that is hunting him. The Spirit is showing me that some of you have already felt this pull. In the past week, you have faced conversations or situations that stirred an old wound, reignited an old fear, or tempted you to act impulsively. That is no coincidence. The Emperor has studied your patterns. He knows where your defenses are lower, where your emotions run deeper, where your convictions are most tested. But this time is different. This time, you are not reacting from the same place you once did. You have walked through too much fire, endured too much silence, and learned to discern the difference between the voice of God and the hiss of the serpent. That growth is your greatest shield right now, and the Emperor is terrified of it. Chosen one, when the Emperor falls, there will be a chain reaction. His collapse will not just affect you. It will shake the positions of those connected to his authority. Some people in your life who have unknowingly operated under his influence will suddenly be freed. Their minds will clear, their actions will shift, and they will begin to see the truth they once rejected. Others, however, will cling to the ruins, unable to accept that the structure they trusted was built on deception. You must be prepared for both reactions. Do not waste time convincing those who refuse to see. Your focus is on the new territory God is opening before you, not on rebuilding what heaven has just demolished. This moment is also a divine test of alignment. The exposure of the Emperor will reveal where loyalties truly lie. People who have smiled in your face may suddenly grow distant. Others who once ignored you may step forward with unexpected support. These shifts are not random. They are strategic movements allowed by God to position the right people in your life for the next stage of your mission. Pay attention to these alignments. A conversation that feels ordinary could be a divine connection. A door that swings open now could lead to the very platform where your voice will carry farther than ever before. Do not dismiss the subtle signs. They are the footprints of heaven guiding you through the smoke of the fallen fortress. As the day approaches, you may also feel a strange mix of peace and urgency, a holy tension that seems to pull you in two directions at once. That is the Spirit preparing you for rapid transition. The peace is your anchor. It is the assurance that God is in control. The urgency is your signal to remain alert. Keep your spirit sharp and your discernment active. Heaven is not just removing an obstacle, it is opening a window of opportunity that will not remain open forever. The chosen ones who step through in faith will see acceleration like they have never known. But those who hesitate, doubting the timing, may find themselves watching the wave pass by. This is why Tuesday is critical. It is not just about what falls, but about what rises in its place. Remember, chosen one, the Emperor's fall is not the end of the battle. It is the beginning of a new assignment. With his influence broken, the spiritual atmosphere around you will shift, and that will require you to carry yourself differently. No more moving quietly to avoid notice. No more shrinking back to make others comfortable. You will be seen, heard, and recognized for the authority God has placed in you. That visibility will draw both favor and opposition, but it will also bring you into rooms where your presence shifts the entire atmosphere. You are not just surviving this moment, you are stepping into the role you were always meant to play. And the world, whether ready or not, will have to reckon with it. The signs of the Emperor's unraveling will not always be loud or obvious at first. Sometimes, heaven begins dismantling the plans of darkness in silence, like roots being pulled from deep beneath the soil, before the tree even begins to wither. Chosen one, you may notice small disruptions in the routines of those who opposed you, delays in their plans, sudden confusion in their speech, or inexplicable missteps that seem to sabotage their own strategies. These are not random events. They are the first cracks in a structure that once seemed unshakable. The Emperor's network, once operating with precision, is now faltering because God's hand has touched the foundation. And when heaven touches the foundation of something corrupted, it cannot stand for long. Do not underestimate how the enemy will respond when he realizes the inevitable. Desperation makes darkness reckless. The Emperor will likely attempt one final smear against your name, one last manipulation to paint you as the problem, one last attempt to rally his followers in defiance of the truth. But here's what he cannot see. His efforts will now serve as the very rope that tightens around his own deception. Every move he makes will expose more of his corruption, and the more he tries to hide, the more visible the rot becomes. This is the danger of waging war against someone who walks under God's covering. The battle always turns back on the attacker. In the spiritual realm, the angels assigned to your mission are already on high alert. They are not just guarding you, they are actively dismantling traps before you even see them. Some of you will notice sudden escapes from situations that could have been disastrous. A canceled meeting, a failed plot, a conversation that abruptly ends before damage can be done. These are not coincidences. They are divine interceptions. The path ahead of you is being cleared, not because the road will be without resistance, but because God is ensuring that the resistance cannot touch you in ways that derail your purpose. This is what it means when Scripture says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." The weapon may be forged, but it will never find its target. Yet, you must also understand the weight of this hour. The exposure of the Emperor is not just about your vindication. It is a signal that the spiritual landscape is shifting in your territory. Darkness is losing ground, but whenever a throne is vacated, there will be a battle over who occupies it next. Heaven's will is for you to step into that authority, not to dominate others, but to steward an environment where truth can flourish. However, the enemy will try to plant counterfeit rulers, people who appear righteous but carry the same hidden agenda. This is why your discernment must remain sharper than ever. Do not be swayed by charisma without character, by charm without conviction. Some of you are being prepared for leadership in ways you did not expect. You have endured seasons where you were overlooked, where your voice was ignored, where your wisdom was dismissed. That was not a punishment. It was training. God was teaching you to lead without recognition so that when recognition comes, your leadership is rooted in humility, not ego. The Emperor's fall is not simply removing an obstacle from your life. It is making room for the influence you were always meant to carry. And as that influence grows, you will need to remember the hidden years. They are your anchor against the storms of visibility. Chosen one, the moment the Emperor's mask falls, you will see the true faces of those around you. Some who claimed loyalty will reveal they were only loyal to power, not to truth. Others who kept their distance will step forward with open hands, ready to stand beside you. This sorting is necessary, though it may feel bittersweet. You will grieve the relationships that were never real, but you will also rejoice in the alliances that God has been preparing in secret. Understand this. Every person removed in this season is making space for someone divinely assigned to your journey. The empty seats in your life are about to be filled with those who will protect your vision, not compete with it. And above all, you must remember that the exposure of evil is always followed by an invitation to deeper intimacy with God. When the Emperor's lies are stripped bare, you will feel the temptation to celebrate loudly, to shout your vindication from every rooftop. But heaven will call you first to a place of stillness, a sacred pause, where you can hear God's next instructions. Victory without direction can be dangerous. Before you step fully into your next chapter, you must receive the strategy for it. The same God who brought down the Emperor will show you how to walk wisely in the space left behind. That is how you ensure the fall of darkness leads to lasting light. The Emperor's kingdom is not falling because of chance. It is falling because the time appointed by heaven has arrived. There is a clock in the spiritual realm, and when it strikes the hour, no force of darkness can resist the command of God. Chosen one, the plans that once seemed unstoppable are now running into invisible walls. Connections are breaking, alliances are dissolving, strategies are unraveling. The very resources the Emperor used to maintain control are slipping through his fingers like water through a sieve. This is the hour when God shows that He alone is the one who allows or removes kings. And when He removes one, it is never without purpose. It is always to fulfill His greater plan, even if, in the moment, you cannot see all the pieces fitting together. But while the Emperor's downfall is certain, the atmosphere will not be calm. The collapse of a throne is like the shaking of the earth. It sends tremors far beyond the place where it stood. You will feel the ripple effects in conversations, in news, in sudden changes in people's behavior. Some will be terrified, others enraged, and a few will quietly rejoice. Be careful where you place your trust in these moments. Just because someone appears to celebrate the fall of evil does not mean they carry the heart of righteousness. Many will try to position themselves as replacements for the Emperor, hiding their own ambition behind words of justice. This is where your spiritual discernment must be your compass, because not every voice that speaks against evil is speaking for truth. God will give you glimpses of what has been happening behind the scenes, visions, dreams, sudden insights that seem to come out of nowhere. Pay attention to them. They are not random thoughts. They are pieces of the puzzle. You may see the face of someone you need to distance yourself from. You may hear a name in your spirit that carries a warning. You may feel an unexplainable urge to delay a meeting or avoid a conversation. These are divine whispers guiding your steps. The enemy wants to confuse you in this season by flooding you with noise, but heaven will keep sending you signals if you remain still enough to hear them. This is why silence is powerful right now. It keeps you tuned to the frequency of God's voice. Some of you will notice that the Emperor is not falling alone. Others connected to his schemes will fall with him. This is the nature of corrupt alliances. When the main pillar crumbles, everything leaning on it collapses as well. You will hear of partnerships breaking, of hidden betrayals coming to light, of long-standing reputations being questioned. It will feel like a domino effect, one exposure triggering another, until the web of deception can no longer hold itself together. The speed at which this happens will shock many, but it will not shock you, because the Spirit has been preparing your heart for this hour. You have been sensing the tension in the air, the strange stillness before a storm breaks. That storm is here, and you are standing in the eye of it, untouched, yet witnessing everything. Yet, I must warn you, the Emperor's fall will not erase his influence instantly. Like the echo of a shout in a canyon, his words and actions will linger for a while. People will still repeat his lies, not because they believe them, but because they are afraid to admit they were wrong. Others will continue to fight for him out of pride, unwilling to face the truth. Do not waste your energy trying to convince them. The truth will do that work on its own. Your role is not to argue, but to stand as a living testimony of what happens when someone stays faithful to God's direction in the face of opposition. Your peace, your stability, your unshakable presence. These will speak louder than any argument ever could. In the days ahead, God will begin to reposition you publicly. What was once hidden will now be acknowledged. People who ignored your warnings will remember them and come back to seek your counsel. Doors that were shut will swing open with little effort on your part. This is not because you suddenly became more qualified. You were always prepared. It is because the atmosphere has shifted, and the truth that was resisted before is now undeniable. The same anointing that protected you in the shadows will now elevate you in the light. This is your transition season, from surviving attacks to leading from a place of authority. And when that authority comes, it will be tested, not by the Emperor, his time will be over, but by those who cannot handle the light you carry. They will try to provoke you, to make you act out of character, to draw you into battles that have nothing to do with your assignment. This is where your wisdom must match your authority. You are not called to fight every fight. You are called to win the battles that matter. And in this season, victory will often look like silence, restraint, and letting God handle what your flesh wants to handle. That is how you remain untouchable, not by fighting harder, but by standing firmer in the place God has set you. There is a reason God waited until this Tuesday for the Emperor's plans to collapse. Timing is everything in the kingdom, and heaven never moves too soon or too late. If the fall had come earlier, the pieces would not have been aligned for maximum impact. But now, the trap he set for others has been turned on himself, and the very strategies he thought would secure his reign have become the instruments of his undoing. You will see events unfolding in such precise sequence that it will be undeniable. This is not coincidence. This is orchestration. God has been pulling strings in the background, arranging encounters, delays, and exposures, so that when the moment arrived, it would be impossible for anyone, even the Emperor, to reverse it. This is divine justice, timed to perfection, and you, chosen one, are living to witness it. But witnessing a downfall does not mean standing idly by. There is a posture you must take in this season, a posture of watchfulness and inner readiness. The enemy, though exposed, will not go quietly. He will stir up chaos, hoping to distract people from the truth by flooding them with fear, confusion, and misinformation. This is where many lose their footing, because they think the battle is over when the enemy is simply changing tactics. Do not be fooled. The fall of a leader of darkness often releases a swarm of smaller attacks, meant to test the resolve of those who opposed him. If you allow yourself to be pulled into unnecessary disputes, you risk missing the higher assignment God is setting before you. Keep your focus locked on the greater mission, even as the noise around you grows louder. Some of the signs of this shift will be subtle, but deeply significant. You might overhear a conversation that confirms something God already whispered to your spirit. You may come across an old document, a photograph, or a message that suddenly makes sense in light of the exposure. These are not accidents. They are breadcrumbs on the path of revelation. Each one adds to your understanding, strengthening your discernment and sharpening your spiritual vision. The Spirit will illuminate details you once overlooked, and you will realize that pieces of this puzzle have been in your possession all along. This is the beauty of walking in alignment. Even what the enemy tried to hide from you will eventually be placed in your hands when the time is right. As the Emperor's influence weakens, those who depended on his power will face a choice: either align themselves with the truth or cling to a collapsing system. Many will choose truth, but others will double down on deception. The sad reality is that some people are more comfortable living under lies than facing the discomfort of change. You will see them resist the obvious, twisting facts to protect their pride. Chosen one, you must resist the urge to argue with them. Your role is not to convince the blind to see, it is to keep walking in the light, so that those who are ready will know where to turn. Sometimes the most powerful witness is not your words, but your unwavering alignment with truth when others bend under pressure. The Spirit also warns that during this exposure, you must guard your heart from hidden bitterness. It is easy to celebrate justice in public while secretly harboring a desire for revenge in private. But remember, vengeance is the Lord's, and when you take it into your own hands, you step out of the covering that kept you safe. This is a delicate season, and purity of heart is your shield. Do not let the downfall of the wicked become a doorway for darkness to enter your own spirit. Instead, see it for what it is: a moment of heaven's intervention that confirms God's sovereignty over every ruler, every plan, and every throne. You are not here to gloat. You are here to stand as a witness to what happens when God decides it is time for justice. In the aftermath of this collapse, expect a period of shaking in relationships, communities, and systems. Old alliances will crumble, and some long-standing connections you thought were unshakable will reveal cracks. This is not a sign of loss, but of refinement. God is removing what cannot go with you into the next season. The same fire that consumes the plans of the enemy also purifies the path of the righteous. If you try to hold on to what God is shaking loose, you will find yourself drained and frustrated. Instead, release it. Trust that what remains after the shaking is what was truly meant for you. This is how God ensures you walk forward without unnecessary baggage or lingering ties to what He has already judged. And then, chosen one, comes the realignment. As the dust settles, you will find yourself in rooms you never thought you'd enter, having conversations you never imagined having. Opportunities will arise seemingly out of nowhere, but they are not random. They are rewards for your endurance. The visibility you are about to step into is not about fame or recognition. It is about influence for kingdom purposes. You have been prepared in obscurity so that when this moment arrived, you would not waste it on personal ambition. You will speak with authority because your words will not come from ego, but from the deep well of truth you have walked through, and that authority will be undeniable to those who hear you. But be aware, chosen one, with new visibility comes a new level of scrutiny. The enemy may have lost a major stronghold, but he will attempt to infiltrate through subtle means, using people who appear harmless, even helpful. This is why your discernment must be razor-sharp in the coming days. Not every opportunity is from God, and not every open door should be walked through. Some are bait, designed to lure you into agreements or alliances that would dilute your assignment. You will know the difference by the peace or the unease in your spirit. Pay attention to the quiet tension in your chest when someone speaks, the subtle heaviness when you enter a space. These are the spirit's alerts, and ignoring them could cost you greatly. The Emperor's fall is not just the removal of a corrupt figure. It is the unraveling of a spiritual network that has been influencing decisions, controlling narratives, and manipulating outcomes for years. You may think this has nothing to do with you personally, but understand, these networks affect everything, from the opportunities you receive to the resistance you face. When a system like this collapses, the ripple effects touch even the quietest corners of life. People will behave differently toward you. Doors once closed will open, while others that used to welcome you will suddenly shut. This is a sign that the spiritual atmosphere has shifted, and you are no longer operating under the same oppressive canopy. It is a release, but it is also a realignment that may feel uncomfortable before it feels freeing. In the chaos that follows exposure, the enemy thrives on distraction. He knows that if he can keep your mind busy with small conflicts and emotional disturbances, you will miss the deeper move God is making. This is why, in this season, you must be intentional about where you place your attention. Avoid the temptation to chase every piece of gossip or analyze every rumor about the Emperor's fall. These are diversions meant to drain your energy and cloud your judgment. Instead, fix your eyes on the signs God is showing you, the divine confirmations, the unexpected alignments, the prophetic words that resonate deep in your spirit. Let those guide your steps, not the noise of public opinion. There will also be moments in the coming days when you will feel a strange stillness in your spirit, as though time itself has slowed. Do not mistake this for inactivity. It is a divine pause. God uses these pauses to let the dust settle before revealing the next step. In these moments, resist the urge to force movement or create outcomes on your own. Remember, the same God who exposed the Emperor will also reveal the next stage of your journey at the right time. Rushing ahead could put you in the path of battles that are not yours to fight. Be still, listen, and let the Spirit lead you into the exact places you need to be, at the exact time you need to be there. The Spirit is also making it clear that there are hidden victories tied to this exposure, blessings and breakthroughs that could not come to you until this stronghold was broken. Some of these victories will look like restored relationships, where misunderstandings and manipulations are suddenly cleared away. Others will appear as opportunities that were previously blocked by invisible resistance. You will recognize them because they will flow easily without the usual obstacles. This is the fruit of spiritual warfare won in the unseen realm. The path has been cleared, and what was once delayed is now being delivered into your hands. This is the kind of acceleration that only comes after a major enemy falls. Still, there is a sobering truth you must hold on to. Not everyone will celebrate your breakthrough. In fact, some will resent it, especially those who were secretly aligned with the Emperor's influence. They may not attack you openly, but you will feel their coldness, their withdrawal, their subtle undermining of your progress. This is why your circle must remain small and spirit-led in this season. Protect your energy, protect your focus, and most of all, protect your joy. Joy is a weapon now. It frustrates the enemy because it cannot be faked or manipulated. When you remain joyful in the face of shifting alliances and silent opposition, you declare that your source is unshakable. Finally, chosen one, you must understand that what is happening this Tuesday is not just a political or personal victory. It is a prophetic marker in your journey. This moment will be a reference point for years to come, a time you will look back on and say, "That was the day God proved He is the ultimate authority." It will strengthen your faith for future battles, reminding you that no matter how entrenched a power seems, it cannot stand against the timing of heaven. The emperor's fall is not the end of the war, but it is a decisive turning point. You are stepping into a new chapter where the ground beneath you has shifted in your favor, and the path ahead, though not without challenges, is brighter than it has ever been. In the days following this divine exposure, you will notice that certain conversations and interactions feel unusually charged, as if an unseen force is testing your reactions. This is no coincidence. The enemy, though wounded, is desperate to regain even the smallest foothold. He will test your patience, provoke your emotions, and attempt to pull you back into old cycles of doubt and fear. These are not random frustrations, they are spiritual probes, designed to see if your defenses have weakened after the major victory. Your task now is to remain steadfast, to guard your heart and mind with prayer, worship, and the Word, so that no subtle infiltration can undo what heaven has already secured for you. There will be people who suddenly come forward with information about the emperor's fall, presenting themselves as allies and truth-tellers. But discern carefully, chosen one. Not every voice is meant to be trusted, and not every revelation is meant for your consumption. Some will disguise gossip as prophetic insight. Others will cloak manipulation in flattery. This is why you must weigh every word against the peace in your spirit and the clarity of God's voice. If it breeds confusion, division, or fear, it is not from Him. In this season, you do not need excess noise. You need alignment with the still, steady frequency of heaven. That alignment will guide you to discern between what is meant to inform you and what is meant to distract you. At the same time, do not underestimate the divine momentum now working in your favor. The exposure of such a powerful enemy sends ripples through the spiritual realm, and those ripples will begin to touch areas of your life you thought were beyond restoration. Doors that were locked for years will begin to open effortlessly. People who had no interest in partnering with you before will now reach out, sensing the shift in your authority and influence. This is not because you suddenly became more worthy. It is because the spiritual resistance that was clouding their perception has been broken. They can now see you as heaven has always seen you, chosen, anointed, and appointed for a time such as this. But with new influence comes the need for deeper humility. The fall of the emperor is a reminder that no throne built on deception can stand, and that includes thrones of ego within our own hearts. As God lifts you higher, He will also refine you, stripping away hidden pride, impatience, or self-reliance that could make you vulnerable to the same traps that brought others down. It is in this refining fire that your authority becomes unshakable, because it is built not on human achievement, but on divine obedience. Let this season be one of purification as much as promotion, so that your victory remains protected in the long term. The Spirit is also making it clear. There is an assignment waiting for you on the other side of this exposure. It is not enough to simply celebrate the downfall of the enemy. You are being positioned to rebuild what was broken, to restore what was stolen, and to speak truth into spaces that have long been dominated by deception. This will require courage, because stepping into this role will draw attention, both from those who support you and from those who wish you would remain silent. But you were not chosen to blend in. You were chosen to stand out, to carry light into places others are too afraid to go. This is where the real battle begins. In this next chapter, you will also discover hidden allies, people who have been quietly praying for the same breakthrough you just witnessed, people who have endured under the same oppression but now feel empowered to step forward. Do not underestimate the strength of these alliances. Together, you will move with a force that the enemy cannot easily counter. This is why the enemy fights unity so fiercely. Because when chosen ones align under God's authority, they become an unstoppable army. Be intentional about nurturing these connections, for they are part of the divine strategy to protect and multiply the victory you have received. And when doubt tries to creep in, when the enemy whispers that this victory was just luck, or that it will be short-lived, silence that voice with the truth. This was not coincidence. This was divine timing. This was not the result of human schemes, but of heaven's intervention. The same God who orchestrated this exposure will continue to guard what He has built in your life. Every time you feel fear rising, speak the testimony of this Tuesday aloud. Declare it over your circumstances, over your future, over every lingering shadow of the past. The Emperor's fall is your reminder that nothing is too entrenched for God to overturn, and no plan of the enemy can stand once heaven has decreed its end. Chosen one, as the dust settles from this great unveiling, you must understand, this is not just the end of an enemy's reign. It is the dawn of a new chapter in your destiny. The spiritual climate around you has shifted. The heaviness that once pressed against your spirit has lifted, and the atmosphere now carries the scent of breakthrough. This is your moment to breathe deeply, to feel the weight slide off your shoulders, and to recognize that heaven has not only fought for you, but has gone ahead of you to prepare the path you are about to walk. You are stepping into a space where favor will flow more easily, where your steps will be ordered without resistance, and where the hand of God will be unmistakable in every detail of your journey forward. But remember, victory is not a signal to become complacent. It is a call to vigilance. The enemy is wounded, but he is not without schemes, and he will watch for any opportunity to reinsert himself into your story. This is why your alignment with God must remain unshakable. Guard your routines of prayer, stay rooted in the Word, and keep your spiritual armor secure. Do not allow distractions, pride, or old wounds to open doors He can exploit. Your greatest defense is to remain in the presence of the One who brought you through this battle. In that presence, you will not only be protected, you will be continually prepared for the assignments ahead. Let the testimony of this Tuesday become a weapon in your mouth. Speak it when you feel weary, when the path ahead feels uncertain, when voices of doubt rise up. Prophesy over yourself. The Emperor fell, and God did it. If He did it once, He will do it again. Let this be your reminder that no darkness is too deep, no fortress too fortified, for the light of God to penetrate and overthrow. And when others see the boldness in your spirit, tell them why. Tell them of the faithfulness of God, of the way He exposes lies, of the way He rescues His chosen at the appointed time. This is not just your story. It is a spark that will ignite faith in those around you. So go forward, chosen one, with your head lifted high and your heart anchored in the truth. You are living proof that the plans of the wicked cannot prevail against the decree of heaven. Every step you take from here is marked with the seal of divine favor. You carry the authority of one who has walked through the fire and emerged without the smell of smoke. And as you walk into this next season, may you never forget the power of the God who fights for you, the God who exposes what is hidden, the God who turns the tide when all seems lost. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something greater than you can imagine. Stand ready, stay alert, and remember, you are the chosen one.